Welcome back. This evening, we welcome Nazeer Jamal, co host of Mindscaped podcast, to talk about the Unscripted Society. Now, this Unscripted Society is a unique initiative aimed at empowering the next generation of change makers. And tonight, Nazeer will share insight into this vibrant platform where young visionaries can find a space to voice their ideas, connect with like minded individuals, and become part of something bigger than themselves. With free coffee and limited seats available, don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to join Durban's future leaders, all provided or made possible by the Unscripted Society. Mr. Nazeer, good evening and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate being on INX.
I know in your media release, you were like, when we were 20, we could ask, 40-year-olds, but I believe it's no longer the case, seeing that now we're seeing the existence of the Unscripted Society. So, can you talk us through what inspired you to create the Unscripted Society and empower young people in this manner?
Yeah, as you said, that was a reflection moment for me. As I'm reaching 40, you can see with the grays that are coming. And I thought back to when I was about 20 years old, 19 years old, just finishing school, going into university, before I'm getting into the bigger world. And I thought, who was there for me when I wanted to do amazing things, when I wanted to get involved in community work, when I wanted to establish projects, when I wanted to do impactful events? Who was there to guide me? I had my late father, who was the one that really was the one who guided me and mentored me. But many others like myself have the vision, have the drive, have the ambition, but they don't have the opportunity. And that's the reflection moment that came. And I said, as someone who's part of charity organizations, I do community work, I've been in media. How can I sit back and not give other young people the opportunity, free of charge, without any conditions, skill them or upskill them rather, give them networks, share with the platforms that I have, share with them the skills that I have developed over the years. And this is why I want young people to attend. This is why what inspired it. There's lots of talented young people out there, passionate young people, but they don't have the platform. This is the platform, inshallah, for them to be using.
Hmm. And now, having created this platform, how do you envision the Unscripted Society making a tangible impact on Durban's youth and communities?
Yeah, for me, the word unscripted means that, we believe in the will of God, that's for sure. But the fact is that we have young people who have the opportunity to write the script for themselves in how they not only see themselves, but how they see their community at large. And I think we're seeing that across the world when it comes to protests, when it comes to action. Young people are the ones that are truly at the forefront. But a lot of them may be misguided, a lot of them may not have the opportunity to be mentored, to be trained. This is why that is the gap that this would be filling, and the impact it will have, especially in Durban right now. We have this kind of division in communities. This would be bringing people on the same page, hopefully towards a better future that they build for themselves. And I think that's where it's coming from. This is not a top down instruction. This is engagement with young people, asking them, what do you think you need? And then as an elder, I'm gonna call myself an elder, saying, how, listen, this is what we can see as the future. Now let's work together and build something together. And I think that's where the impact would be lying.
Mm. And looking at some the catch that's there to say, it's inviting the youth, free coffee and limited seating. However, there's also the only approved participants will be accepted into the Unscripted Society. We want to find out tonight before or whilst others have, registered, if that is the case, to say what is the criteria for those who could potentially be accepted into the society.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to be too hard there, but I also wanted to be clear that we're not looking for polished CVs or perfect candidates. What we're looking for are a few categories. Number one, heart, someone who has got hunger, who's honest, who has integrity, who's also curious. These are kind of the kind of characters that I'm looking at in young people, because those are the ones I believe who would really want to make change. This is not something where you're going to come and just sit back and listen to a lecture or listen to a training. This is truly something that's going to be building you in terms of your character, in your outlook, in your worldview. So there's a lot of engagement on your side as a young person. So that's why I kept it for a shorter, smaller number. This is not. We will be doing events with larger numbers. A smaller number, looking at really focused young people who have that drive and that passion.
Hmm. And looking at the fact that, you are a co host of Mindscaped podcast, would you say that the events around the Unscripted Society, will it be, captured in the sense of, will it be happening live where others can watch on social media if they can unfortunately make it to be in there in person?
Yeah, for the first one, we won't be doing any of that, but we definitely will be capturing some of the stories and the lessons learned by the attendees for those who would like to be on camera. And so we will definitely expand that to our reach on the podcast for sure, and obviously get some young people. Hopefully, it'll inspire young people to start a podcast. And if you watched our last episode, we spoke and openly for anyone that wants
Mm,
to start up their own podcast or want to start up a project. Here's the opportunity. I'm being open and honest. Already, 3 people have contacted me after that. We're setting up one in Johannesburg, another one here in Cape Town, and one in Durban. So hopefully, there's going to be a lot of more activity you're going to be seeing because young people want to do something. Here's the skills and platforms that we'll provide for you.
certainly. And seeing that we are living in an age of social media and online activism, why do you believe that unscripted societies, in person gatherings, are important for truly fostering change?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I was thinking, should we just do this on TikTok? And then I was like, no, that's going to open up a can of worms, right?
Yeah.
But for sure, I mean, certain times, young people may not agree with this, but this is where my elderly comes in, right? Certain times you have to be sitting on a table together, hopefully over some coffee, a muffin, or hopefully a burger or something, and you're actually looking and feeding off each other's energy. That is so critical in these times. Social media has its place, but an in-person event, when you're sitting with that person, you build a different form of connection with them. It's not like scrolling past or swiping left or right. It's truly building collaboration, and what it does, it brings you out of that digital world into a real world. And for a lot of young people, it builds character. I've seen people when I've done events where young people who were quiet, who were reserved, not because they were introverted, and I can understand someone who's introverted, but they had something to share, but they were very shy to share it. So generally, they can sit behind a computer or a phone, and you can be scrolling and messaging, and no one really says anything. In this case, they were afraid, but I saw how through engagement, little joking, some comedy, laughter, it broke through those kind of barriers that they built. And those young people today are now running organizations. They are doing great work. So definitely, I love the face to face at times when it's needed.
Mm. And seeing now the individuals we're gathering on the fort, this being the pilot project, what are the plans, if there are plans in being curated in that sense to sustain the unscripted society, making sure that, the youth, they're always looking for what's new, what's trendy, and what's out there. And how do you plan on ensuring that, what unscripted society is always going to be kept on its toes and it's always, serving the
Yeah.
demographic?
Look, we have a great vision as a team that we've built. We've put some time and effort into it. This is not just didn't come out of nowhere. This is about, I would say, 9 months of planning.
Mm,
And my last trip to Malaysia was the real cog in the wheel that said, "Listen, we got to start the engine." So we definitely started and ignited this as the first event when we traveled for the prophetic strategy summit in Malaysia. That really sparked that conversations that we had as a team to let's start this thing. There's no more planning. We now have to go to implementation. So this is just a start. Already we've got another event planned in Johannesburg and then Cape Town, similar like this for the meetups at a coffee shop. But that's the coffee shop's meetup is just the start. It's just
mm,
a conversation starter. What is going to be leading to is incubators, retreats, mentorship programs, summits that we're planning for 2026. So watch this space. Thank you so much for giving us the platform.
mm. And in terms of looking at how when you were young and you had someone to, look up to, or someone just to, share your ideas with and get the guidance, and seeing now that you are involved in so many things that are quite impactful in their own way. I want to find out from you, what advice would you share with a young individual who is passionate about creating change but are unsure of how to get started?
I'm going to give away some of the presentations that I'm going to be doing on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll share a little bit with you. One of the topics that I'm going to be opening the floor for discussion, and I think this answers your question, is intention and integrity. So when I say intention is why, it's important for me to understand why do people do something. Why do you want to start a project? It's easy to say I want to do this and I want to do that. To me, the why is critical. The intention. We know this in Islam as well. The intention, your niyyah, is so vital in that it's going to really truly speak to what the impact would be. Is it because you want to say, oh look, I'm involved in something? It's my ego that you want to boost, put a social media clip, take a picture. Same when you're doing humanitarian work. Same when you're doing any community work. Number one for me is intention. The second is, now that you've straightened out your intention, that you're not doing it for the fame or name, or you're doing it for truly for the impact of others, then you look at, okay, now how am I being sincere about the work? How am I continually being accountable, transparent in my actions? So that's a very important start to me. That's the foundation that your work should be built on. Now we can start talking about other things about, and we can be sharing that on how to network with people. How do you get your image out there? How do you fundraise for a project? How do you go about planning for a project and then implementing it? So all of those kind of backgrounds will be there. But for me, the critical thing for young people, number one, I'll leave you with, is integrity and intention.
Hmm. And with that being said, would you like to please share with us in terms of, how can individuals register? And when I know I said on the 4th of October, but can you just share, precise details in terms of where, when, and what time will this event be taking place?
Yeah, so the Unscripted Society, the first event for Durban, will be at the coffee shop called Skyline Coffee in Windermere, and that is on Saturday, the 4th of October, from about 1:15 after prayer. We'll be opening it up till about 3 o'clock. It's not very long. I know young people's and even my attention span is very low, so it doesn't have to be long. And it's not, as I said, a lecture. It's actually a lot of conversation that we're going to be having. It's more like me sitting there with my notepad and like, oh, okay, is that what you think? What are you thinking about this? And me making notes, and then having you tell me your issues, explain your problems, see where the gaps are in your communities, and then we can build from there. So bring your ideas and your questions and your energy. Let's build something together because we need your voice as young people.
And seeing now that there are going to be prizes to be won, can you talk us through what would be in the prizes, or that's up for surprise?
Yeah, definitely the surprise on there. We've got some gifts that we've got some sponsors who've very kindly given us stuff, as well as, okay, I'll give it away on INX. We also got a little goodie bag for anyone that attends. So you're not going to be going home without just a coffee in your hand. You'll be going home with a little bag and some goodies inside.
Amazing, and hopefully a new um, clique in that sense, because I mean you're going to be meeting like-minded individuals. You never know what could come out of that room and the networking opportunities that are there. But Mr. Nazeer, jazakallah so much, for joining us tonight and really giving us more insight and information around what birthed Unscripted and what Unscripted Society is planning to bring to the youth, not only in Durban, but also in Cape Town and hopefully Joburg and other places around South Africa. But jazakallah so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Viewers at home, that was my guest, Mr. Nazeer Jamal, who is the co host of Mindscaped podcast. And he was really giving us more information and understanding around unscripted society and what it's offering to the youth with regards to what they might have in mind, what they would like to do. And as he mentioned, to say this in terms of being part of this movement or being part of this event that's happening on Saturday, it's all going to be dependent on the zeal and the energy that you will be putting forward in terms of why, the interest. So make sure that your why is so powerful that it lands you in the room that's going to break, yeah, it's going to just create beautiful things that we are here to witness. But for now, let's head over to an ad break. We'll see you just after this.